No, I actually know some people that have gotten those tattoos, and got one friend who actually contemplated getting the hockey mask tattooed on his face, but he couldn't find a tattooist that'd do it in L.A.
Oh, gee.
Unbelievable.
That makes me
But
want
then
to go
again, I
and get
used
a
to DJ at a
tattoo.
goth club. I used to DJ at a goth
Okay.
club, so I know people who have filed their teeth.
That's another
Using
racket
Schindler's
that is
File.
absolutely. That's another racket that has got me completely worn out to the point of no return, because I help a good buddy of mine out with DJing as an assistant, getting music for him and stuff, and that racket is just totally outrageous. I hate when it becomes like 12, 1 o'clock, and then all this really messed up shit gets played. I said this before on the network, and how outrageous people are at these clubs. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what point are you trying to make when you're ossified and you don't know what you're doing? What do you think you're doing? Acting like all you're doing is making yourself look like an idiot. I understand getting out on the floor and dancing to a certain song that you may have waited the whole night for, to come on. I've been in that position where I've waited for out of 500 songs for the one song to be played. But why do you go so ridiculous? I mean, I've had people come up with me and my buddy who knock over the system. I was at a wedding with him there a couple of years ago, probably 2 years ago, and there's one girl who wanted the Spice Girls played. She wanted them played that bad. She was loaded. She almost, I was just searching for the song and said, okay, I'll look for it. Go down, get off the DJ pedestal before my buddy comes back and starts freaking out because everything is beat up on the floor. She gets down off the pedestal. I'm still looking for it. When I hear this bang, when I look up, here's the DJ pedestal coming down on top of me, and if I hadn't looked up when I did, everything, like thousands of dollars of equipment, would have been smashed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do people get so ridiculous over stuff? It's unbelievable. Christmas, DJing, superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was DJing goth clubs and strip clubs and
Goth clubs and strip clubs. Wow.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it really
I
isn't
can
much
imagine.
difference
I've never
the way
done
the
that.
chicks
I've never
dress at
done
goth
that.
clubs. the way
I've
chicks dress
never
at
done
goth
that
clubs
before.
ain't much different than a strip club, I'll tell you.
I've never done that, but I can only imagine how insane that is. I would imagine that's an entirely different experience.
No, well, the club you've seen one of the clubs I worked at, Crazy Girls. You've seen Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
That was Marcel's bar, and was Crazy Girls.
Pulp
That was
Fiction.
the bar
That was
in
the
Pulp
one with the
Fiction.
dude. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, the old version of Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I remember that. I actually downloaded that the other day, probably about 6 months ago, and I watched it because there's another movie called Pulp Fiction that's based on a guy who actually, well, there's two. There's the old one you're talking about, and there's this new one that has a completely different plot where this guy is actually hearing this voice in his head constantly, narrating his whole life, which is ridiculous. Like, the purpose of the story is he's hearing the story of his life in his head, because he's got this narrator for whatever reason in his head, and she's telling the story of his life, which is completely opposite direction than the original. But I know the one you're talking about, which is the old one,
Samuel L. Jackson, Travolta. Yeah, that was actually like the big film for Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing.
I've gotten drunk with him, but he's washed up now. He's a producer. He knows that he isn't coming up with anything new. Unlike,
Didn't
say,
he do
Tim
something
Burton.
with the Saw movies too? Didn't he do something with Saw too? That he had some kind of something to do with Saw, didn't he? I believe. I'm not sure, but didn't he do something with Saw?
I think he was a producer on it.
Yeah. He did something with that. I think he produced like the whole series, and then because I remember watching it and seeing his name in the credits, and I know that Evan Courageous from WCW is good friends with him. And a couple of years ago, he was supposed to have gotten me an interview with Quentin Tarantino, and it never fell through because me and Evan lost contact. But the thing was, so many people talk so highly of Quentin Tarantino. It's amazing how many people have put in good words about it.
The one brilliant thing he did was he teamed up with Robert Rodriguez, and they went on to do Dusk to Dawn. And Rodriguez has been all over the map with film. He did the Machete films, but he also did all the Spy Kid films, which were huge money.
Yeah, they were huge. They were awesome. I remember the first Spy Kid, seeing that in the theater. It was amazing.
Yeah, a buddy of mine's in that, plays the uncle, Danny Trejo.
Okay.
Yeah, because Danny and I did some stuff for Japanese TV together, and his old lady was on my roller derby team when we did roller games.
It seems like you've had a pretty lengthy career, and I give you credit
for that.
Well,
at 56, I've been around for a while. You've
brought me back to some of my fondest memories as a kid watching these movies, and then I've had the chance, very, very fortunate to interview people that were in some of my favorite movies, like the Ready to Rumble movie with Diamond Dallas Page, which was a great representation of the wrestling business.
And that was a funny-ass film. That was a great
Ready
film.
to Rumble.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I've had the chance to document just about every wrestling movie that they ever made. Like the Ready to Rumble movie, I documented that, met a lot of people who were in that. I documented the Beyond the Map movie back in, I think it was 98. That was released.
Yeah.
And the other one, The Wrestler, in 2009. I had a chance to interview Ernest the Cat Miller, who had one of the lead roles in that, Romeo Roselli, DJ Hyde, Papa Don. There were a lot of people. I think that movies and wrestling definitely have been able to coexist quite a bit.
Oh.
And also, it's just amazing how they do it.
Movies and wrestling go back to the 50s with Ed Wood and him casting Tor Johnson, the Swedish Angel, which became, for 50 years, the top-selling Halloween mask for 50 years was the Tor Johnson mask from Plan 9 from Outer Space. Okay, and I went quiet. We still on, guys? Okay, I'm hearing a hissing now.
We are back, and I'm trying to get Jonathan Clarke here.
Okay.
And we had a little bit of
I was about to say I got to hop off because I got to get ready for work.
Definitely. I'll definitely let me grab Mr. Clarke here so he could get back here to his show. We got about 20 minutes left here.
Okay, well, I'm going to mute myself at this end, and I'll be back in a minute.
Rob, as we are...
Yeah.
All right, we are back. We are back, and it's...
What happened? There are technical difficulties?
Yeah.
What do we have? Some technical issues?
Yeah, my computer acted up, which is no real surprise there.
How are we doing for time? I've lost track of time completely here.
As I am looking at... we are still doing good for time here. We are... oh, man, we are definitely holding up here on our end here. I'm getting We still have about 19 minutes left. I was trying to extend the show, so it's just you and me here.
We're
But
back
yeah.
on live. At least we have the feed still up.
Yeah, the feed's still up, and we are live.
Okay, great. What a great show we've had so far, Bob. We've talked about a lot of great topics on the show. I didn't think we were going to have as many good topics talked about on the show as what we've gotten into. It's amazing how much we've talked about.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we definitely hit on a lot of things, which is definitely a good thing here. And like I said, definitely good stuff. Definitely can't complain about it.
Anybody else who wants to call in, hopefully Bob will be able to get the show extended. If you want to call in, the number is there. You can call in. And I got to thank